February that we are working on this, and you can see, the results, now that we've completed, because it wouldn't have taken us, more than, 5-6 weeks, to complete, the tartan track, and then to change the artificial turf,
oh, you're planning to change?
Yes, we're changing. The one there is about, 10 years old. I mean, but, if you still go there, it still looks good. It's just because of the fact that, it was done, well. But, if you take, professionals, there, they will tell you that it's not, fit enough. Yeah, it's because all these things, they have their lifespan. Like that, so that's why it's important for us to change the artificial turf and then make that tartan track. The point of trying to proceed with work was when we noticed that the underlaying asphalts they are not they are not well laid, and then the drainages around that place. So if we do it like that, it's like just throwing millions of naira into the ground,
the next 5
then
years,
the next 3 4 years you are talking about the same thing again. So, and that's one thing that we don't want to do. We are not just going to do anything for the show off or for the sake of, oh yeah, they've done it, it looks beautiful, and then we'll say that we don't care. Maybe the next 4 years might not even be here, so why should we care about? No. And that's why everything I do, everything I say, it's always centered on sustainability. How can we look back in the next 10 years, 7 years, and say that, thank God we did this thing the right way. If not, we are not going to still have it standing here today. So by the special grace of God, immediately things normalize. We'll get back to work. The contractor is going to get back to work, and then they're going to do what is expected
do you have
of
a contractor for it already?
Yes, there's
it's been awarded?
Of course. It's been awarded.
What about the Olubado Stadium?
So the Olubado Stadium is also one of the highlights, and by the special grace of God, that place is managed by the 11 local governments of Oyo State, in Ibadan rather. So and then we're working in collaboration with the local government to see how best, because we don't just want to do something that is just the way maybe year in year out they try to renovate some part of it. We want something that at least can meet up the standard of a mini stadium like that. So and that's what we're working on, and thank God that even the local government they're beginning to function as they ought to function. So it's not going to be a big deal for us to get on that and then go through all the necessary procedures.
We've been talking about football. I mean, when I mentioned the Olubado, we talk about football, the tartan track, maybe track and field, then the pitch itself, football. Let's talk about other sports in Oyo State, and most importantly, the para sports in Oyo State. Some time ago, I visited their training ground, and that place doesn't look good to me. I mean, is there a plan to also touch on other areas, the indoor sport hall, and other parts of that particular stadium? Yes,
of course. There are plans, to touch up on all, of those, sporting, facilities, like that. So, and that's why, there's work already, going on. I must tell you that it's going to be, I'm going to be untruthful if I tell you that, everything is being, is working, we are working on all of them, simultaneously, and no. But we've decided to put all this projects in phases.
Right.
That let's us start, with this. Let us complete this instead of say, okay, we're starting everything at the same time, and then we get to a point that we cannot even complete. We can't achieve like 30% completion across board. So we've decided that okay, let us take it one after the other. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that, and then let us build up. And before we know it, when this one is working, and another thing that we're trying to do is to work with organizations, work with multinationals to say that I think so organization, you are very good, you promote this sport, basketball for example. I know that I don't want to mention names, but I know that some organizations that they are very keen with basketball, and also we can call them in and okay, come and do this for us. If your business is established in Oyo State, and then there's a lot, you should be able to to give back. So, and one thing I notice is that most of these people are ready to give back, but there is always no avenue to actually bring them on board.
Now, so, what is the ministry doing to actually bridge that gap?
Yeah, So I mean, ever since we started, myself, and alongside a number of the people that we've been working together, the special assistant to the governor on sports development, Honorable Tobi Oyewumi, the special assistant to the governor on youth and sports, too, Honorable Kazim. And a lot of them have been responding that, okay, you know what, what most of them have been saying that, okay, as long as the roads are clear, that we can begin to meet, physically, we would be able to. We have done a lot of, online, meeting, even as far as doing online meetings with La Liga, so great. a lot of things are going on, in that respect. So we can I cannot wait, for this whole pandemic, to ease off, and so that we can actually, get back on track.
Talking about public-private partnership, I must say that it's not only happening in your ministry as well; it's also happening here as well. As the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State was the only media house in Nigeria that covered the FIFA Club World Cup in Qatar, December 2019, and it was in conjunction with the private sector as well. And just like you said, if we are able to bridge that gap and know what they've got to offer and all of that, I think we can go to the next level. Just imagine BCOA's microphone alongside that of Sky Sports. That was what we achieved in December, and kudos to the government as well on that particular one. Now let's talk about welfare, and that is one part that this government has actually been praised for, really. But for sport, a lot of people have said that other sports have been abandoned, have been neglected. We got, I would say, so actually rumor, because it wasn't really confirmed, that before the sport festival that was supposed to happen sometime in March, that there was a protest at the sport council. Okay. Because some people felt they've been neglected. I mean, what is the ministry doing as far as that is concerned to make sure that the welfare goes all around?
So just like I said, I mean, so talking about that, I don't know what name, to call it, because I think, that's, died off, almost, as soon as, it started.
Natural.
So, and I think that, the thing is just, when, some people, whether we like it or not, humans, will be humans. And, then, the level of, tolerance, by some of us is actually, it actually, varies like that. So, there are some set of, there are some group of, persons that they actually felt like, okay, maybe, the government is not ready, to do this, even though, of course, that this, particular, reward, that of the National Sports Festival Abuja 2018, it wasn't this current government that promised. But whether we like it or not, government is government. So, and the fact that a particular government has promised them, it's our responsibility to also uphold whatever promise or whatever reward they've actually put in place for them. So, and that's what His Excellency did to approve that for them.
They got the payment, right?
Yeah. So right now, as I speak, I mean the payment. I mean, this is going to be the first time that I'm going to mention it publicly, like that the payment has been made, and by the special grace of God, on or before Thursday, all of them, the beneficiaries, will definitely get their money. So this is another, big, win, for our athletes. And I think that the money is even coming, at a very, very good time.
Very good time.
Because I know that it's going to cushion, a lot of burden and.
I think we should just set it straight that this particular reward is for those who did well at the last National Sports Festival.
Please.
I think it's important that we
say that clearly, so that
some athletes will start calling me.
This reward is for the medalists, of the 2018 the National Sports Festival, that took place, in Abuja.
Yeah, so don't come and start saying there's a palliative from the government and all of that and start disturbing my phone line. No. It's about the medalists at the last festival. All right, let's talk about a particular sport that has suffered greatly in Oyo State, and that has to be basketball. It's so disheartening when we see those who have emerged from that sport here in Oyo State, most especially the biggest we've ever had in Nigeria, Olumide Oyedeji, knowing fully well that the basketball team in Oyo State have suffered for so long. I mean, I'm sure it came to your table at some point. What was the reaction from you?
Okay, so I mean, like everybody that has been working, together with me, they will tell you that anything that has to do with welfare, I don't joke with
You don't
it.
joke with it.
Because I mean, the state of mind of the people that are working with you is actually very, very, important because it affects, the work, so greatly.
Yeah.
So when I got into office, shortly, after I got into office, I was just, on Instagram, and then, somebody messaged me because I've not even settled down, enough. I'm not sure I've even done 2 working, days, at the office, and somebody just, messaged me on Instagram and was like, Honorable Commissioner, what are you doing concerning the payments, concerning the Oli warriors that their salaries have not been paid since 2016? And I'm like, oh, really? Immediately, I took my phone, I called my PS, and then, I called the general manager, Sport Council, and they told me that, yeah, that's, that's true, that everything is actually in the file, that they are, bringing, to the office that I can go, through and all like that. I said, well, okay, well, I said, please, for this particular, issue that I just cited, can you raise a memo to that effect? I want to know everything that we are owing them, from that 2016 up, to date. And then, they provided it immediately. I charged it, to His Excellency, so that you can see. And His Excellency didn't even think twice.
Whoa.
And he approved it.
Whoa.
And as I speak, I mean, these people have been paid.
Whoa.
I mean, it's been 2 or 3 weeks now that they've been paid their money the way they ought to, to be paid.
Fantastic.
From 2016, till date. So, and that's what we are saying, that look, the welfare of the people is very, very, important.
Yeah, welfare very important, and I must say kudos to the administration for doing that. I mean, you inherited a liability, so to say, and you cleared it once again. Now, let's talk about another liability that one way or the other you've inherited, and that was the victorious Shooting Stars team of 1998 that won the African Cup. They were promised a certain sum of money. Although it was revoked by the other government, I mean, after that, but that particular team have actually written to the ministry to come to their aid to get them paid for that particular reward. Now, what's the stand of the ministry on that, knowing fully well that welfare is top on your agenda?
Yeah, I mean, as much as welfare is top on our agenda, it's also imperative to know the genesis of issues,
yes,
like that. So now a particular government actually promised the reward. I mean, of course, I was not here.
1998, that's 22 years ago.
Yeah, about 22 years ago. So, and the government of the day promised. And then another government, came in and then, revoked, that promise, I don't know, for whatever, reason they had, like that. So, and, it's been like that, for long. So, but I'm very, very sure that the reason why this issue was raised, once again, is because, this government, this administration, under the leadership of His Excellency Engineer Seun Fakorede, has been seen to be very responsive and responsible.
And that's the truth.
So, and that's why, they're reaching out, again. But, what we're saying is, they should give us time, to evaluate, this.
All right.
We cannot just, jump into, things or make promises that are not going to be substantiated. So, and that is why, I cannot, be quoted to say that, okay, maybe this is what we are doing. Everything is still under review. And, by the time, we get, a concrete or a substantial, what's it called? I mean, we're going to let them know our position.
So at the moment, they should hold on.
So at the moment, they should, hold on. And, while, we work on it to see the possible, what's it called, that we can actually, bring, to the table.
Oh, great one. I mean, to hear all of that you've done. But this time around, let's talk about grassroots sports development. I mean, your state has been known for doing that over quite a number of years, and that's why we've had so many sports stars emerged from this pace-setter state. Now, one tradition that's well known to your state is the Governor's Cup, which we've not had for so many years, and that has affected 3SC, Crown FC, and also affected us because it's been a while that we had any player in the national team. That has to be said. And of course, it's disheartening, really, to know that, I mean, a team that used to have players in the national team no longer have them. Now, what's the plan to revive school sports, Governor's Cup, and other grassroots competitions?
So another thing that we did when we came in was to look at it. I mean, 3S is a continental club.
Yes.
And over the years, we've not really, seen that, effect.
I tell you.
On us. And so I just, we actually, looked at the, the data, the available, resources that we had, and then we said, how actually, did they, populate, the team, the squad, then. But you will see that most of the, squad then, were actually,
from the grassroots.
Scouted from the grassroots. So, but over the years, we've actually, lost, that just because of the fact that those institutions or system in place to actually, feed the team from the grassroots are no longer there. And that's why we said that, okay, you know what, we are going to revive, this back. I was on air, sometimes, and I said to my dear, people that, look, we are going to return the Governors, Cup, back. And we already had the plan. In fact, as a matter of fact, the Governors Cup was meant to start end of April. Like that. So, if not for the pandemic, we still would have, be playing, the Governors Cup. And another thing that we said we were going to do was that, inter-house sports, for school. So not just football alone. I remember when, I was in school, I attended Government College at Pata Ibadan. I remember that was inter-house sports is one of the things that we actually look forward.
You ever played cricket at GCI?
Well, I never played cricket because as at the time that we came in, cricket was already. Cricket that GCI used to be known for was already becoming unpopular. Then, but of course we still had inter-house sports. So and it's one sport that most of us are always looking forward,
But now it's dying.
Now it's
not like it's dying. It's dead.
It's only if you have schools that are, it's only very few, schools.
Private schools.
Because I remember so vividly that it's one of those times that the attendance in school is always, very full.
Yes, very full.
People.
You have a reason to go to school.
You will, because everybody, and then we look forward to the Eid. The Eid comes like maybe a week or 2 weeks before the inter-house sports, and then the inter-house sports major, and also these are things that we are working, together with the Ministry of Education, to bring back into our system, because we believe that these are places that. So we want to go for National Sports Festival, for example. We want to go for National Youth Games. We know that we have people that we could actually have that we have scouted for. So we have a data bank of skillful athletes all over in different aspects of sports. So we don't need to be looking for. So those are the things that we're actually working on.
Great.
And
I need to go back to welfare, because if you ask one or two athletes, I didn't really tell you welfare. Now, first off, let's talk about this pandemic and all of it. No doubt about it. Some athletes are supposed to be at the festival right now, and they were expecting, pays, but this time around they're not getting anything. Is there any palliative measures from the ministry?
Okay, so practically, as we speak, because you have to look at it. Necessity is the mother of invention, and nobody saw this, coming. And that's why you see that, for our people, everyone that is involved, with the sports, ministry, Oyo State today, everyone that is, under, any salary, they still get their salary as and when due. Yeah, so for example, now the 3SC, guys, their salary, is still in full.
True.
The Crown FC, still, full salary and everything. So so in that, case, really, are we expected to, give any palliative?
Well, really not. But people will always want to ask for more. But aside from that, let's talk about safety of their career, after sport. Is there a plan for an insurance policy for our sportsmen and women? From Oyo State, the ones who have in Oyo State, because we saw stories recently about how the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports had to intervene in the Rashidi Yakini matter, had to give the mother one or two things, and other fallen heroes as well. What's the plan? Because I want to encourage doing that. I feel there should be a structure in ground.
So I'm very sure that if you get me right at the beginning, I mentioned something about policy.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are actually policy subjects. So these are places that our policy are going to actually be strong enough to cater for. And that's why all these things I just believe that it's just a function of initiative. Really, because there are a lot of things that we could actually put in place for our sportsmen, that even after they are done, You know, they know that, okay, they have, you know, something significant, you know, to actually, you know, fall back, you know, on like that. So these are the things that in the next, you know, few months that will actually, you know, institute, you know, to say that, okay, look, you know, everybody, you are protected. Because it's like nobody, they are our investments, they are our assets.
True.
So, and we want to actually protect, you know, our assets the best way, you know, we can. So, and that's why, you know, for every one of them, more than ever before now, health insurance, you know, very, very, you know, important. And then, you know, to ensure some certain, you know, level of, even if they are, what's it called, their gadgets, or the equipment that they work, you know, with. For example, you know, someone who is a cyclist, you know, we should be able to get those things, those equipments, you know, are very expensive.
Yes.
They are not cheap. So anybody that sees a cyclist, they say, oh, Shebi is just bicycle, 50,000 naira bicycle. But the truth is this, you know, our cyclists in Oyo State, they don't ride. I mean, I don't think there's any cyclist, you know, anywhere in the world that does that professionally, that will ride, you know, a bicycle worth 50,000 naira. These things are always very expensive. Some are over 1 million naira. Some are almost 1 million naira.
Safety,
you know, because, I mean, for safety, because, I mean, these things, if you get the wrong, you know, one, it can amount to loss of, you know, one's life. So, and that's why, you know, it's important that some of these, you know, sports, they're actually high risk, you know, sports, and that's why the necessary, you know, policy and insurance, you know, should be in place, you know, for them.
Are we looking at sports that are of high risk alone, or we're cutting across?
No, everything. I'm just saying that, no, there are some.
There's some that
everything.
That are like
I mean,
that.
really, everything should. Even, you know, people that are not into sports, that are just, you know, civil servants, should have, you know, some level of, you know, insurance.
Yes.
You know, like that. So I mean, it's just, but you know, it's something that is just becoming popular, you know, within our community,
not so popular,
and then people are beginning to embrace, you know, it as it were, like that. So those are the things that, you know, we are instituting, and they would eventually become the norm.
Oh, I mean, fantastic. I've really had a swell time hearing a scorecard of Governor Seun Fakorede as far as sports is concerned. Now, before you leave this morning, I mean, you personally, that's one question I ask all my guests each time they come. I mean, what does Honorable Seun Fakorede wants to be remembered for?
Okay, very, you know, simply, I mean, I want to be remembered that for the fact that there is a particular commissioner whose interest, utmost and paramount interest, was, you know, in the welfare of the people, the sustainability of the projects that they were able to establish, and the quality, you know, policy that was, you know, instituted, you know, for the good people.
Great. But I have to take this question from one of our viewers. He's asking what's the plan? A lot of people have been clamoring for or something like a privatization, if it's a partial or full privatization of shooting stars. I mean, most people believe that that will bring out the best in the team, knowing fully well that government can't do it alone. I mean, what's the plan as far as that's concerned? Okay,
so for me, I feel that yes, it's good. I mean, if, you know, privatization is going to solve the problem, I mean, why not? Why shouldn't we, you know, privatize, you know, shooting stars? But, you know, until it becomes, you know, of necessity. Like they say, necessity is the mother of invention.
So at the moment, it's
you know, sincerely, you know, we are testing, you know, new ways. We are, you know, using new approach. And all so, and as long as it's working, so I don't think, you know, we might actually need, you know, to consider another alternative. But, you know, if we see that, okay, in the best interest of the state, in the best interest of the club, privatizing it, you know, is going to be the key, you know, solution. Why not? Or if it means that it's going to be, you know, a collaborative or a joint, you know, venture between, you know, a private, you know, entity and then the government, you know, why not? But, you know, at the moment, it's still, you know, the government is still fully responsible for the shooting stars. And if we look at it, really, I think it's just, you know, understanding of what, you know, the challenges, you know, are, and then what the projections should be. Shooting stars do not start, you know, up as, you know, being, you know, maybe totally, you know, managed, you know, privately, you know, as it were, you know, like that. Although, I mean, there were a lot of, you know, agents of, you know, private, you know, entities and individuals, you know, that actually contributed you know, to the club. I mean, those people actually, you know, practically owned the club, you know, like that, because they were using their personal, you know, money, you know, to fund it. And also, I would just, you know, enjoin people to let us, you know, put our hands, together, and let us, do what is expected of us to do, and let's try as much as possible to see, this approach that we are bringing to the table. As long as it works, then to God be the glory. And if it doesn't work, it means that we have to look, elsewhere, for better alternatives.
Commissioner, I've just been accused of neglecting Ogbomosho additional over there, and that's a Crown FC doing well.
That's the adjustment that I'm putting on.
Oh, that's true. And they also want to know the situation and they plan on ground for the Seun Township Stadium as well.
All right, so just like I said, just recently, about 3 weeks ago, we are still at the Seun Township, stadium, to inspect, the stadium, and then to see the things that, the actions that we're about to, take on, in that, place. So pretty soon, a lot, is going to be happening, there, too. And then, for the club too, when we came in for Crown FC, we met, some significant amount of debts. There.
At Crown FC?
Yes, at Crown FC, like that, maybe that's from the money that they've used to prosecute, matches, and then to run, the club and all like that. And then, they were owing, the players and the staff. But that, as I speak, today, we owe no one, any dime.
Fantastic.
In Crown, FC, we've been able to, completely waive off, the debt, and then, the players are being paid, in full and up to date. So, and I feel that, this alone has also, increased, the commitment, of the players. And that is why, they put out there, I'm praising, His Excellency for his good deeds and for being, keen on the welfare, on their welfare, and which I feel that it's actually a great applause. And, that's why, we are, forever, indebted, to His Excellency. We are forever grateful, to His Excellency, for not just saying that I believe in sports or I love sports or I'm a sportsman, but being, doing everything necessary to actually uphold, those statements.
Wow, Honorable Commissioner, I must say a very big thank you to you for being a part of Saturday Breakfast Sport this lovely morning. And I hope that when next we call on you, you will surely be here. I actually never thought you would make it this morning, and that's why I had a guest. But right now, I would have to postpone the other interview as well. Thank you very much once again for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, that was a very, very long interview with the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports in your state, Honorable Seun Fakorede, talking about Governor Seyi Makinde-led administration, scorecard on sport. I need to go on this quick break, and when I return, we'll be riding up on Saturday Breakfast Sports.